Hello, welcome to the Windbreakers podcast. I'm Yahtzee Croshaw. I'm joined by Jay and Marty, as ever.
Hi all.
And how are we all doing? I don't usually ask that, but I feel like asking you this. How are we doing this weekend? Are you all like keeping your mental health good?
No, but I appreciate you asking.
Yeah, going all right. You know, just plowing on to the next thing. Finish one, onto the other.
I've been saying the
That's
word
nice.
piton a lot lately, which is exciting. That's an exciting.
That's a good new development.
Are you a bit quieter than everyone else, Marty?
Am I a bit quieter?
Yeah, you're like half the volume.
You sound quiet.
God damn! I don't know. I'm loud on my part. That's my did Eric just make me quiet? I don't think Eric can possibly make me quiet.
No, that's on your end, I believe.
Huh. Well, I'll try to go a little bit louder, but if everything starts fucking up, it's not on me. Not on me. Is it bad loud? Is it normal loud? Good loud?
All right. Good banter. Let's talk about the subject. This week, in the wake of me having played Cairn and wishing to review it this week on Fully Ramblomatic on Wednesday, let's talk about climbing in video games. Climbing as a mechanic in itself, rather than just what climbing is in a lot of things. I mean, climbing in one form or another has existed for a very long time. Donkey Kong had climbing, ladders.
Sure, yeah, climbing ropes.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of games where it's just there as another way to enable vertical movement, but we're talking more about gaming as a mechanic, as in climbing as a mechanic, as a challenge.
Yeah.
When do you, in your opinion, what is like the earliest memory you have of climbing game? I have one real answer and then two sort of quasi. I can go over mine while you guys think. For the quasi ones, I was going to say wall jumping in Super Metroid, which is a different topic than climbing, but it is it's kind of a hidden mechanic that isn't necessary to finish the game. However, if you can master it, you can kind of wall jump your way out of sequence and do some cool stuff. And then I was going to mention the grip mechanic of Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear Solid 2 introduced grip, where you're it's less for climbing and more for hanging. Like if you want to hang below a ledge against to sort of hide from an enemy, you could do that for an extended period of time. But those aren't my actual true first climbing game that I think I played was Shadow of the Colossus. I like to say that's the first game I played with a core concept of climbing is a mechanic.
The core concept of climbing, controversially.
Oh.
Yes, if we're going to be like, I don't know how literally we want to define climbing as a mechanic. If we're just talking about ascending something, then my first memory of it is a game on the Commodore 64 called Nebulous, where you're going up a tower. But that was more of a platformer. If we're talking about climbing in terms of, stamina management, route planning, that kind of thing, it's hard to say. Maybe Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
You fucker, that's my choice.
Sort of thing. Maybe something more in the region of like the original Tomb Raiders that brought realistic platforming to the three-dimensional space.
Sure.
Yeah, Prince of Persia was mine.
Sands of Time's a game close to your heart, Jack.
It's I vivid memories of going up to London to visit one of my mother's friends, and I took the PS2 with me, and I rented Prince of Persia from Blockbuster and played it all weekend, and I couldn't get past. There's that shuffle, the whole tutorial section at the beginning of War, where you learn how to wall run, and then you learn how to do the like shuffling along ledges and dropping down. Then you have to do the wall jumping up to the dagger. I could not do the wall jumping up to the dagger section, and I spent all weekend on it. So it really solidified it in my head of this like big challenge when I was a kid. And then when I finally got it, when I was a little bit older, got it for myself instead of renting, finally overcoming that challenge was like a big moment, and got to play the rest of the wonderful game.
When we talk about climbing as a challenge in itself, for me, I was thinking about this morning. For me, it comes down to two things: either route planning, route optimization, which is what you'll see in something like Assassin's Creed, where the job is to figure out where to find the right sequence of handholds to get to the top of the tower you're climbing. making sure you don't hit a dead end, making sure there's always another thing to go up. And the other thing is what we've touched upon with Shadow of the Colossus is stamina management, which you also see in games like I Am Alive, if you remember that, the old Ubisoft survival game.
Yeah, that came out
I
a
know
little
lot
bit
of you-
before.
Yeah, I know a lot of you forgot about that.
Yeah, that was one of those a very forgettable game, except for the fact that it did like have that grip mechanic, which shortly
Yeah.
afterwards would sort of did by.
But that was always, I mean, even like going all out with like a grip mechanic was never quite representative of climbing as a sport, in my view.
No, but I think it got closer to anything at the time. Like it got close to that. You need to make kind of every step count, and and you have to think a couple moves ahead, and you have to look for a safe space to be able to plant your feet and regain your grip. At least in Shadow of the Colossus, but yeah, I feel like it wasn't until recently that climbing could actually be compared to its realistic counterpart.
A lot of games have really been exploring it a bit. Jusant, relatively recently. What was that game about climbing mountains where you were a little frog?
That was Valley Peaks.
Valley Peaks, thank you.
We've had
Peak
the sort
swings
of the
to mind.
Yeah, Peak in terms of friend slop. We've had the
a difficult game about climbing. Do you remember that?
Yeah, as well as getting over it with Benning Foddy. Both of that.
Yeah. White Knuckle.
White Knuckle and Lauren's Lure. The kind of spookier mega structure climb.
Yes,
which is also
throwing these out thick and fast just to annoy Eric, the editor, as he rushes to find footage of all these games we're talking about for 2 seconds each. But yeah, I got to say, I think I've said before, I used to indoor rock climb as a hobby.
Yeah,
haven't been able to do it since I had kids, but we're kind of hoping to pick it up again at some point. Maybe get the kids into it.
Cool.
And for me, climbing as a sport has not really been represented by any of these realistic climbing mechanics until Cairn.
Ooh.
Okay. What sets it apart?
Well, in a word, feet.
Okay.
See, when you're indoor rock climbing, feet are like half the job. It's like a full body workout. You've got to use all your limbs. And every climbing game that's like done the realistic thing, White Knuckle, I think, got the closest. So before that, where you use all your individual hands and feet individually, and they've got individual stamina. You hang on to one while the other one gets its strength back. And I've seen a lot of VR climbing games, which, of course, since VR only tracks your hands, can only work with hands. But it really is supposed to be about your hands and your feet. And that's what Cairn does. You control both your hands and feet individually, and you have to make sure each one has got purchase before switching to repositioning the next thing. And that, to my mind, is exactly what indoor rock climbing feels like.
That's interesting because a lot of games that I've done climbing have been done trying to mimic what you're talking about, have been trying to do it in first person. And trying to get that kind of realism in it, but the third person angle seems to lend itself to being able to see your feet.
Yes, right? That's the trouble with first person in a lot of things, is that your feet aren't always in your view.
Yeah,
and Cairn does a good job of kind of gamifying other elements less realistically in order to make that core climb feel more like what Yahtzee's saying. What actual climb is like, it lets you have a robot with you that you can kind of zoom out and take like a look at your surroundings, and you can look at a cliff face and really decide like, okay, where do I want to start my climb? I want to plan my route, and I want to make sure I get up to here to this ledge and get up there, which is something you wouldn't have normally. You wouldn't be able to just like throw a scout up into the air,
because it uses both of the sides of climbing challenge that I talked about. It uses route planning, where you have to figure out a route of like little cracks and things, because it's not always obvious in Cairn what is something you can cling on to.
Sure.
I mean, that's always the complaint about yellow paint ledges, isn't it? They make it too bloody obvious what the climbing route is, whereas figuring out the route is supposed to be part of the fun.
Cairn does a interesting. We'll talk about more games than Cairn. We don't want to step on your fully rematic, but it does its version of yellow paint by entwining it with the the visuals, again, cell shaded isn't the word, but the way it uses color and lighting, you can very easily see, not very easy, but you can see kind of divots in the rock. And pretty much anytime you see something, generally the game allows you to grab onto. You can also put your hand on something that isn't. You can put your hand on a flat surface, and you're going to quickly realize you can't really climb the rock that way. But
it is actually possible to sort of brace climb as well, a chimney climb. If you can climb up 2 vertical walls.
Yeah. Because you only really need yellow paint in other games that have like surface level climbing, where you have to be driven towards the one place you are going to start the chain of events to bring you to the next place, which is effectively a ladder with extra interaction costs. And they need that yellow paint so people aren't just rubbing up against the wall waiting for a prompt, which is very immersion breaking. But by using yellow paint, you are arguably also kind of breaking immersion. But what else are you going to do, right? Like,
my take is always that use of yellow paint. I think it was kind of popularized, or at least the discussion was popularized when Final Fantasy VII Rebirth a few years ago. That game's not about climbing.
No, it was very blatant.
It is very blatant, and so the times you need to climb, it kind of just says, just fucking go here and hit this button, and you'll kind of zoop up. And I think that's fine for a game that's not about climbing. Like, I don't know if I'd want the game to slow down and become a Cairn simulator every time I wanted, Cloud and company to get up to a new plateau.
That's fair enough. I mean, the thing about platforming and parkouring and climbing in like 3D is that if you're going to go all out on it, you kind of have to completely focus on it because there's so much to it.
Yeah.
And it's one of the areas that gets overlooked in a game that's otherwise tries to do, hey, you can do everything in this game. You can go shoot guys, or you can stealth through guys, or you can do whatever that you want.
Yeah, even
so it makes
like
so it makes the promise of like universal exploration a little hollower.
Yeah.
But as you say, it's not always fun to deal with unless the game is very specifically focusing on it and putting all its like eggs in that particular basket.
Yeah, and we saw that kind of climbing boom start with, we mentioned Prince of Persia, but Ubisoft stuck with it with Assassin's Creed, and that kind of brought parkour and vertical climbing, and then evolved into horizontal climbing, in the flatter versions of the game. And I thought those early Assassin's Creed games did a pretty good job of walking the line between feeling like it's doing it for you, but then still giving you the gratification, like, well, you're getting something done.
Yes, there was some.
That's all to do with routing.
Yeah, as I said, it's all about figuring out the way to climb up a building, because you can climb on anything that looks vaguely ledgish. Oh, thank you for bringing up Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Eric, that was exactly what I was about to bring up when they introduced a mechanic that allowed you to bypass all of the climbing.
We just became Batman.
So it was like, ooh, did we not quite understand the appeal of our game as Ubisoft? Oh dear.
Yeah, it was almost like, well, these British buildings are too tall. No one's going to want to climb these, so we're just going to give you a zip line for this. Which, that's arguably when Assassin's Creed kind of started to not become Assassin's Creed. Started to become like a big old open world RPG.
I mean, in Assassin's Creed 1, you don't actually do much assassinating. It's all about, planning ahead, getting the lay of the land, and getting yourself into places. And climbing up, finding the optimal climbing routes was always part of that.
Gaining vantage over those things, and being able to find the route in. Yeah, it was a huge part, and it did such a great job of having the environments. I think the historical setting really, really helps in this. That there are a lot of ruins and like crumbly buildings. It's very easy for you to see where you could get purchase. Like, sorry for the listeners, but in the footage we're seeing right now, it is very easy to see, okay, well, if I want to go horizontally, I can go in this direction. If I want to go vertically, I can go in this direction. And it feels extremely natural. None of that feels kind of Uncharted-y. Like, one of the main things I disliked about the climbing and made me roll my eyes in Uncharted was you would see this immaculately like detailed wall that looked very cinematic and great, and then you'd look 2 feet to the left and it'd be the same wall but with 3 little nubbins sticking out, and you'd be like, okay, well, I guess I'm going this way.
Yeah, like just looks like a climbing wall.
Yeah,
I referred to that in a video once as corridor climbing.
yeah,
Where it's fundamentally just holding down a direction and occasionally pressing jump. And it's functionally just walking down a corridor, except you're with like a sort of veneer of additional traversal to it.
In my Doom video, with the grapple hook, there was the instruction where you grapple over like a chasm, and it adds nothing. You're basically just pressing a button to jump over a ledge, and it might as well have just been stairs. It's not engaging you. Like the climbing in Assassin's Creed is requiring you to think about routing, right?
Yeah.
And it might not have the stamina management, but you're constantly thinking not about what you're currently doing, but where you're going to be going next. And it's this like dance up the building and across the rooftops. And it just comes down to like, what do you want from your experience? I think the Assassin's Creed devs were really prioritizing flow over anything else. They wanted things to feel fluid, not just in how you were moving and how it was animated, but like how you were going to get from A to B. Whereas something like Breath of the Wild is focusing on like, do you have the resources to do the thing you want? Because you can practically climb on anything, right?
Yeah, I admire any game that does apply the climbing physics to all of its terrain, not just the dedicated climbable areas.
Was it Breath of the Wild that kind of like started that revolution?
That you can climb,
I guess, but
so,
even something like Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, you can wall run on anything, you can attempt to climb anything. Any ledge you can drop off and dangle off, in contrast to something like Uncharted climbing, where it's very, very clear what you're supposed to be climbing on.
Yeah.
But even just something like, like a classic shooter or like Quake or such that doesn't restrict you physically, it will let you climb anything if you can figure out the physics of getting there, even if it's like jumping off tiny little ledges in like a really weird arcane manner, rather than, filling up the place with invisible walls and preventing you from exploring.
Yeah, it does feel like there's a couple different flavors of climbing. There is that exploration climbing of like, let's see if I can get to the top of this. And then there's also that kind of climbing that tries to replicate like a cinematic set piece. And so that's a lot of times in Assassin's Creed, after you've killed someone and you got to get the fuck out of Dodge and dudes are chasing you, that's where the climbing starts to feel kind of cinematic, because you're making split-second decisions and not being able to think for very long and just being like, how do I put distance between me and these dudes behind us? Similar thing to Uncharted set pieces, or even I would say Mirror's Edge, which maybe did first-person climbing the best up until then.
Yeah. I tell you what, I enjoyed playing Big Hops. And part of why I enjoyed playing it was because when you're swinging on something, it's like true physics. Mm-hmm. It's not like a lot of games will have swinging, but you just jump off at the end of the swing and you sort of miraculously acquire air somehow.
Yeah.
While like launching yourself off a rope. Whereas in Big Hops, you maintain the speed you're going at when you release the swing.
Yep.
And that's the sort of thing that allows you to really sort of explore a movement system and explore how you can break it to climb up to places the game might not necessarily intend you to go.
Yeah. This is something... Carry on. Who's going to
One of you carry on.
Cairn.
Rock, paper, scissors it.
Oh, I'm talking about Big Hops. Yeah, it was funny playing Big Hops at the same time as I was watching a playthrough of Indiana Jones from a few years ago. And the swinging in that game is like, all right, I am here, and now I've hit the button, and my character has pulled their rope out, and now my swinging has begun. Whereas in Big Hops, like you said, if you get a rolling momentum leading up to the swing, like you will have insane inertia flying off of that thing. Whereas if you kind of just go from a standstill, you'll be a little limp noodle swinging back and forth.
Yeah, that swings exactly into what I was gonna say, which is like if you compare that to something like the movement system in Mario Odyssey, which on face value is very simple, but once you learn, the minutiae of how it all works, you can sequence break that game very easily.
Yeah.
And there are barely, well, as far as I'm aware, I'm not a speedrunner, any invisible walls. They're like, oh, you think you can like triple jump, double dash, hat jump across the planet to this one star, this one moon? Yeah, go for it. And there's so much satisfaction in like taking that. I know this is platforming and not climbing, but like taking that system and allowing players to be like, break it and just let them do it and just be like, there's satisfaction in doing it the intended way and then having someone use their skill to break it. I think there's a similar level of satisfaction for both types of players.
Yeah.
Whereas if you put invisible walls, you just piss those people off, right?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of developers seem to take some kind of offense to leaving the space for the player to explore and break the movement system. I like it when in Mario Odyssey, if you get like on top of something that it felt like you shouldn't be able to get on top of, and you just find some coins there.
Yeah.
The developer saying, "Yeah, we figured someone would try this."
Yeah.
It's like a pat on the back.
You think you broke our movement system? Guess what? We accounted for you getting here. Here's some coins, fuckface.
Yeah, it's like an acknowledgement, which I think is really acknowledges. Yeah, we see you. We see what you did. Without giving you like a crazy reward. One climbing game that I feel like has gotten just lost to the sands of time. No pun intended. Also, a Ubisoft game. Grow Home. Did either of you guys ever play Grow Home?
I do remember Grow Home. I also remember its sequel, Grow Up.
Grow Up, yeah, and that had interesting. You played like a little robo, and each of your hands was one of the triggers, and you would kind of climb this way in environments that felt procedurally generated. I don't think they were, but they kind of felt that way, and it did kind of predate that modern climb shit up into the sky, and if you fall, you will fall quite a ways. Thing that we've seen in everything from Clair Obscure's little jumpy dungeons to stuff like Chained Together, the jumping.
That's another subgenre of climbing that's emerged, hasn't it? The only up thing, the sort of offshoot on the tree in which we get Bennett Foddy's stuff.
Yeah, they're a different. I think they are an offshoot because they're about like, okay, so in something like Breath of the Wild, it's all about routing and stamina management, kind of what you're on about Yahtzee. It's kind of like one of the perfect examples of doing it in a simple way that's accessible, whereas like Cairn is you're a little bit more nuanced. These games were all about falling, like Chained Together is about routing, but it's also about like the games being purposely jank to the point where you never feel quite in control fully of what you're doing. Like there's always a worry that what you're doing is gonna make you fall, not because of the challenge, but just because the act of controlling the character just feels so jank. And I hope intentionally.
Well, there's something about how climbing as a mechanic goes hand in hand with falling. And because I've always enjoyed indoor rock climbing as a sport because it's goal oriented rather than, just exercise like running on a treadmill. You're trying to get somewhere. You get to the top, you ring the bell, and then you have won. You have won this particular climb. Why not try to beat your best time? That's probably why I like it as a video gamer. But when you fall and lose progress, your first instinct is, I got to get back. I got to get back in. Otherwise, I will have failed.
Yeah.
And there's that. I think a lot of these games sort of tap into that. Cairn certainly does. Like you fall a certain amount and your character makes a very frustrated noise.
Yeah.
Says, all right, get back on it. We got there before, we'll get there again. There's something about that particular dynamic of losing progress and arduously climbing that makes you want to go straight back in and try to make up for lost time.
It feels like it's like so inherent to video games, right? It's the same satisfaction of I put a quarter in, I got so far in Pac-Man, and fuck, I died. But if I put another quarter in, I think I have gotten that far, so I can at least get there, if not further.
But when
I think there is something though. Yeah.
When it happens with climbing, you have an immediate visual reference for how far you came,
sure,
and how far you could get again.
Yeah.
That was going to be my point, which is like if you're using a piton and you fall and you're caught by the rope, you have kind of set yourself your own checkpoint to get back to, and you're not put into a loading screen to begin at a previous checkpoint, which I think that loading screen is kind of dangerous for players because it's like a mental snap of like, oh, I've been sent to a menu or like a loading screen, I can quit, I can stop. But if it's just a fall, and then especially if you have those like diegetic moments with the character that are like, fuck, I got to get back up, like that frustratedness, that's such a clever way to keep people engaged and to keep, like, to push them forward. I really need to play Cairn. Sounds great.
I think
Yes,
you like
probably
it.
should.
I played a couple hours of it, a couple hours more of it this week.
Yes.
It
And as
also,
I said,
Cairn
I will
does
be
a-
reviewing
okay.
it this week in Fully
Yeah.
Ramblomatic.
Boom.
Cairn does a great thing similar to the Breath of the Wild, I think, that also when you're climbing something, there are these small moments of reprieve where you might find a little solid outcropping. And in both of those games, like it feels as exciting to find that as it would be to like find like a gun in a shooter. Like, because you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it's just like a little flat piece of geometry. But if you're able to get somewhere to where you're able to situate yourself, you're able to reorganize inventory, you're able to sort of look around and plan your next part of your route. It really does a great job of providing like little.
How do you control your limbs in Cairn?
Well, you
kinda
attach yourself
swap-
you attach yourself to a wall, and then it automatically there's an algorithm that's supposed to pick the most optimal limb for repositioning, and it automatically picks that. And then you move it like with the analog stick, and then when you think
like
your
one
hand
of your
is
limbs
over
starts flashing, and then that is the one
Yes.
you are currently controlling.
when you think your hand or foot is over a handhold, you press the grip button, and you grip, and then it switches to the next limb. And whether or not
Okay.
you are actually gripped is a matter that will shortly be revealed. If your limbs start wobbling violently, and you fall off and die.
The game does a great job of conveying your status via your character's animation.
Yeah.
Yes,
You can
'cause there's
tell
those-
your character gets the Jimmy legs or starts kind of grunting or huffing, and you're like, "Ooh,
Yeah,
this isn't
I
going
was-
well."
I was confused for a while because the game keeps talking about remember to restore stamina, and I was like,
Yeah.
where's the stamina bar? There is no stamina bar. And it turns out stamina is only conveyed by the limbs vibrating and the character making like exertion noises.
Yeah, but you start like you play it enough, and you start kind of
I think
getting
it's
a
a game.
rapport with the character, and you kind of understand their grunts and their
I mean, I wouldn't
shakies.
call it like in the Metroidvania area, but there's definitely sort of a learning curve as you figure out how to approach things and learn. And the game's bad at explaining how to do basic things like turn on your flashlight and bandage your fingers up while you're in the middle of a climb.
Yeah.
But once you've figured all that out, there's a lot of. It's a game that rewards mastery, I suppose.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
And
partly
you
why
quickly
That's so
I
far
like
up my
it.
street.
Like Yachts mentioned how the game will kind of pick what it thinks is the right limb for you to move, but you can also take manual control and hold R1 and be like, no, I want to move my right leg.
It's a little fiddly,
Interesting.
but yeah, sometimes the algorithm falls a bit short.
Yeah.
I don't mind a bit of fiddle in the game if that's what the game is about, right? Like if your secondary system that you've like just Frankensteined onto your game because you think that's what people want is fiddly, what the fuck are you doing? If like your core system is fiddly as a necessity because it is a complex system, I'm here for it. I'll fiddle away.
Yeah. I also like that, Cairn does the same thing any of these climbing games does. And when you get to the top of something and you turn around and you look at your view, like it's incredibly
reward.
satisfying. It's the same thing as, Breath of the Wild. You're climbing to the top of a big old building in Assassin's Creed. Like it feels fucking great to look over there. It's like a genuine sense of progression. You're like, I started down there. That was my base camp. That's where I was at the beginning of the game. And now I'm here. I'm very far away from that.
I remember thinking that was a flaw in Valley Peaks, where after I climbed to the top of a mountain and looked at the real world, I was like, wow, this game's really ugly.
Yeah. Shout out to frogs.
It is interesting though in games about climbing because a lot of the times when you're trying to go vertically in games, you're trying to gain vantage to obtain mastery over your environment, to see where to go next, to either glide or, you know, ambush enemies and blah blah blah. But with games like this and games like Peak, there's a lot of you're climbing vertically, so then you can climb vertically again, and there's not a lot of that using that vantage point to your advantage. And
Using
it's a
vantage
hard
to advantage.
Exactly. It's a tough one. But like Peak's another great example of, I think, does a great job of that routing and also stamina management and like environmental hazards. Like that's one of the things that keeps that game ticking for me, is the environment is constantly fighting against you. It's not just a static challenge. There's also this, you know, it changes as you're going. It keeps you on your toes.
Does Peak have like a time limit on it? Like, what is there a rush in Peak?
Yes.
Like, is it like a
once you get, I think it's either a timer
or
or halfway through each. Like, there's a set of levels that you go through. Once you get about halfway, a fog begins to rise, and if it gets you, it kills you.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so it's like the battle royale closing in.
Yeah.
But from
but vertically.
Neat. Yeah. That's cool.
So I just want to say my brain has a little fart every time you say routing, because of course I lived in Australia for many years, and routing in Australian slang is a different thing.
Oh, is it? Oh no.
Yes, it's Australian slang for having sex. Rooting.
Oh, rooting around.
Damn.
Yeah,
I always used to say rooting around. I had an
go.
Australian friend who was like, "That doesn't mean what you think it means."
Have you guys?
There's a not particularly politically correct Australian joke I'm aware of. What's a violent rapist's favorite vegetable?
Is it a root?
Beetroot.
Damn.
At all?
Have you guys ever heard the phrase "fill your boots"?
Yes.
No. What does that mean? With poo?
Marty hasn't. Okay, cool. Well, I was trying to figure out if this is a British phrase, because Jess yesterday said, "Oh, can I have some of X or whatever?" And I'm like, "Yeah, fill your boots." She was like, "What?" She had no fucking clue what I was on about.
Like, have at it. Like, go.
No. It's like take as much as you need. Like,
Sure.
Fill your hands, fill your boots, right? Like, just take as much as you want.
Boots.
Right?
I like fill your boots.
It's It's just I didn't realize it was a British phrase.
Yeah. I think so.
Interesting.
I don't think I've heard in Australia. Seemed like something they'd say.
Yeah.
The show, fill my boots.
Fill your thongs.
Yeah. Fill your Uggs.
Fill your Uggs. The one last thing, I think an underrepresented part of climbing are games that make getting down from something feel good. Assassin's Creed originally it was you jump off and you just jump into hay, and that was cool the first time. That lost its luster quickly. One of the Assassin's Creed eventually introduced the parkour downward climbing, to where you were at the top of a building and you'd hold a button and you'd kind of zoop down, like your character would very quickly grab things on the way down. And I do think getting down from there's an art to getting down from a place. That,
I guess, but I don't know. I always kind of liked the haystack thing because it's a sort of cathartic payoff for the arduous job of climbing to the
sound
top.
Effect. Whee! Oh, so good.
Yeah, that's right. Unity was the one to implement the downward.
I don't envy those devs. Like, the climbing up itself is just like such a huge animation challenge. But then they were like, yeah, we're going to do it where people can go down really quick. Mm-hmm. And I bet the animators were like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, we have the haystacks. Just do that. And they're like, no, we want it to be immersive. And it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
God, man.
All right, shall we get to Super Chats?
We should. Did we have any conclusions? Climbing, pretty good. Put it in your game.
Yeah.
Give it some thought.
Yeah, I guess we didn't really have a point other than, hey, climbing. It's a
Sometimes
cool
it's
mechanic.
good.
It made me buy Cairn, so
There you
go.
Okay, get your Super Chats in. Not too many so far. This is the part where we have to read out the things you send to us. Which is, I don't know what more motivation you need. So you can make us say silly things. You can make me specifically say silly things.
Who's gonna get Yachts to say the silliest thing? Challenge made.
But starting, of course, with Raven's weekly word of the week. Week 35, alpinism.
It's got to be something with climbing, right? Alpine?
Yes. In a word, yes. It's just mountaineering. The art of climbing mountains in extreme environments.
Yeah,
bit predictable, Raven, and
I like it.
Disappointingly, it's one of those words you can just guess the meaning of just from looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. Break it
You've
down.
let us down, Raven. Next week, though.
Yeah.
You didn't let
So it
me
seems to
down.
be-
We learned a new word.
Although I wonder if the word alpine relating to climbing predates the word Alp referring to the
Alps,
mountains, the
yeah.
Alps. I'm guessing the Alps came first and alpinism was a word that was coined later.
These are
What
biggest mountains,
language
so
is the Alps derived from? Because maybe it's just as simple as like it means mountain.
Well, the Alps border France, Italy, and Switzerland, so it could be anything really.
Oh fuck!
It's probably one of the Romantic languages.
Hubba hubba.
No, that's not what I mean by Romantic, and you know it.
Oh,
Romantic, as in deriving from ancient Rome, Latin.
Mm.
Because there's two kinds of like
Marty.
European language. There's the Germanic languages and the Romantic languages. Romantic languages are like derived from Latin, Italian, French, Spanish, and the Germanic languages are from Northern Europe. You know, English, German, the Scandinavian languages, and they're like coming from different directions. And in England, you can see the sort of the clash of a language that takes words from both, and that's why English is so confusing to learn.
Interesting.
I love it.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to pad the time out so more super chats arrive.
No, you're doing great.
Anyway, Kid Bargetta gets $2 and says, "Can Jack's floppy dong theory be applied to games?" Now you're gonna have to help me out. What's Jack's floppy dong theory?
Me too.
Jack said in movies and TV, you can gauge an artist having control over their work via if there's a floppy dong, like a non-sexualized penis, a penis that is not there for titillation. Game of Thrones, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, second episode had a massive floppy dong right at the beginning. Let me tell you, like a staggeringly huge dong early in the.
Am I going to have to go through my
show.
encyclopedic knowledge of gaming history and list incidents of floppy dongs?
Yeah, because we don't get a lot of them, and also floppy dongs are in the news because of the news that Dispatch was censored on Switch, and so you don't get to see certain floppy dongs. The Switch version,
no.
It's just
There
censored
are
with a big
cel-shaded
black bar.
dongs in it.
Just a big black bar.
There's quite a lot of adult themes in Dispatch. There's like a flat out sex scene as well.
Fat
Floppy dongs. Grand Theft Auto: The Lost and Damned. One of the quest givers appears on screen with his dong hanging out.
Yeah.
There's a surprising amount of Japanese kids games from olden times that have kids just with their dongs hanging out because the Japanese
young Goku was always running around with his little wiener out.
They don't have the same taboo of showing kids' penises in Japan. Like,
Yeah. That's
I don't know why
they
this
probably don't
particular
sexualize them, unlike all the perverts over here.
No, well, you say they don't sexualize kids, and then you look at half of what they do with Japanese schoolgirls.
Dundum.
But yeah, for some reason, the game that's sleeping to mind is an obscure NES title called Toilet Kids, which I think was Japanese only, where the main character is a toddler with their dong hanging out.
Incredible.
We all got dongs.
Don't look for footage of that, Eric.
Muppet Babies. Kermit was always hanging brain. Like we all remember.
What?
Yeah, sure. Check it out.
Also, there's plenty of floppy dongs in Cyberpunk in the character creator, if you like that sort of thing.
True.
So perhaps we're acquiring increasing maturity towards
growing as a
floppy dongs.
society.
Japanese Earthbound as well. Ness at one point when he's in Magicant is full on hanging dong. Anyway, moving hastily on. Minduel gives $2 and says graphics are too purdy these days to find the path.
I mean, that is part of the problem.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. That's sort of the problem with a lot of things. I remember talking about this when I was reviewing Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. I tried to get by without turning on Witcher Vision to show me what was important and what was just background noise. But it was kind of essential in the end.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't find anything. Everything was really detailed bushes and exotic alien plants.
I made an entire episode of Design Delve on it of like when I was working on the bog, the like level designing, like white boxing out a level to be kind of clear on signifying where the player should go. Then the artists come in and like spice it all up, had a bunch of foliage, had a bunch of like lighting that they think will look great, and it did look great, but it lost all of the what I was trying to signify. Like, this is the thing we should be focused on. So the beauty of the game was taking away, and then I had to go in and be like, hey, we need to change all these things, or we need to change the layout of the room because it's just not working. So things being too pretty can add a lot more dev time to making things right for actual flow of gameplay and stuff like that.
I know. I remember saying way back when, this is probably why people still play Doom and still mod Doom so extensively, is because even just adding like a HD lighting engine can make it hard to differentiate things from important things. In Doom, you can always see what's a monster and what you need to be shooting at.
Sure.
But it looked like Doom 2016, everything's like murky and there's like sparks flying off things, and you can't tell if a distant thing is like an imp clinging to a wall or like a bit of a tree.
Yeah, like interacting as well. Like, I think I was watching footage of someone playing Marathon, the OG one, and they like busted open a wall and interacted with something, and the texture of it looked exactly the same as the wall. And I was like, how the fuck would you know that was there? Like, would you just shoot things and try, like, hope? Maybe it's because I was colorblind, but it was kind of crazy. Maybe it wasn't Marathon. That looks different. I don't know what it was.
ASDFGHJKL gives €6 and says, warning, massive layoffs at ASML, the company that makes the machines that make GPU/RAM, all chips. Good luck with the new PC.
Yeah, from what it sounds like, if anyone needs to buy a new PC, you're already too late, and shit's only going to get worse.
Well, if it makes them stop trying to make the graphics better every bloody year, then perhaps this might be a time for some reconsideration.
That's what we were talking about on DevHeads last time, which was the devs might start not prioritizing graphical advancements and making things look better because nobody's going to be able to afford the new hardware.
Yes, who bloody race say I?
That sounds fucking wonderful.
Tsunami Douche gives $20 and then says nothing. At least he's always reliable.
Legend.
Or she.
Thank you,
we
Tsunami
got douched.
Douche.
Thanks, Tsunami Douche.
And then Mindule comes back with $2 and says, silly things. Lol.
He said the silly things.
Said, because that's when I said this was your chance to make me say silly things.
And you said silly things.
And Mindule then comes back with another $2 and says, Marty, share your cool new bird pepper fact.
Oh, I learned a new bird pepper fact. Birds don't taste spicy, or they don't have whatever like pain receptacle that we have.
Yeah, I know.
Spicy hurts.
That's why.
And so
that's why capsaicin evolved, because peppers need their seeds
fly away, and they're able to shit out pretty much the pepper seeds full, and that's how peppers are able to spread.
Yes, that's exactly why spice as a concept evolved, because plants only wanted birds to eat it so that it would spread their seeds properly. Get on board. I thought everyone knew that.
I didn't. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I learned that yesterday. That's a fun fact.
Yeah, so that's why birds don't taste spice. And yeah.
You were so excited about that fun fact, you were talking over me trying to.
I know. I wanted to.
You were like both explaining it.
Yes, I wanted you. I didn't want you to get the impression that that you were in any way smarter or knew something that I didn't.
You know what's funny? When you say, when we were playing Mio the other week, you immediately called the game pretentious. Do you think you're pretentious?
Yes, but I own it.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
He does fucking own it, which it goes full circle.
As long as you're aware. As long as you're aware.
He knows.
This isn't my natural accent. I usually put on like a posh accent when I'm talking on these things. If I let my natural accent drift more into sort of natural areas, it sort of drifts a bit northwards, you know.
Yeah, we'll can confirm. We can't even understand what he's saying.
I lived with him for like 2 weeks in Milwaukee, and every time I came downstairs, that's what he was like.
Oh bloody hell!
Hello,
there, Jamette, bloody hell!
Jamette, put the kettle on.
Yeah, where's my bloody Japanese katsu curry?
You fucker.
I like the idea of whoever the third person living with you guys also starts adopting an accent. Like, oh no, what happened?
It was Jesse Galena, so he would. He would.
Incredible.
No, I'm literally pretentious in that I pretend to have a different accent.
Beautiful. Listen.
Where was I? Get Ratty. Get Ratty gives $2 and says, using your feet to climb in baby steps is rough. Well, that's kind of the point of baby steps, Get Ratty.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, he doesn't like grip things with his hands while he's stepping on things with his feet. Because I guess he's just so
Intentional
inept.
jank.
Because he's a very, very
we,
inept character. That's the point.
Yes. That we kind of, when it comes to moving in a game, walking or running, we're fine with just whatever the status quo is. Like whatever our character can run, maybe there's stamina. We'd prefer it if there wasn't stamina. But then when it comes to climbing, it feels like, is it because climbing is less universal than walking and running? Like walking and running, relatively universal to the human experience, save for anyone who might have a disability. Whereas climbing, maybe we've climbed a little bit when we were kids, but I would assume most of the audience isn't climbing even as much as you used to. Yeah.
Well,
is that why we kind of demand more mechanics from it?
It's that, and because, as I say, there's sort of an inherent challenge to climbing and an inherent goal, and with an inherent reward of being able to look down on all the tiny plebs and get a lovely view once you're up high. I would say like ascending is sort of a goal in itself because it makes it much easier to see and get to places.
Yeah, and there's something more cinematic about seeing how far you've come from a vantage point as opposed to being like, well, I walked 7 miles and I can't really see where I started because it's flat, but I know it's 7 miles that way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Covered in Sponges gives $2 and says, fill boot equals British trunk.
That's a fair point. It might be that.
Perhaps fill your boots comes from the fact that the British say boot to mean trunk, as in the trunk of a car.
Yeah.
Oh, take as much as you want, take as much as you can to fill up your
Fill
trunk.
your boots.
I like that.
Fill your boot. Fill your boot. I mean, fill your boots if you brought 2 cars, but who does that?
Because the phrase is fill your boots, right? Not fill your boot.
Yeah, it's fill your boots.
Yeah.
Oh,
like both. I like fill your trunk, and I also like take your shoes off and fill them with custard and shit.
Yeah, I think fill your face.
Yeah, I don't think Britain has quite the car culture of America. I could say Americans saying, "Hey, bring your car and fill your trunk with all the stuff."
Sure.
It's not as snappy though, is it? That one.
No. Yeah. Do you know what the British call the hood of a car, Marty?
The hood, like the front of the car.
Yeah.
No, we don't actually.
We call it the bonnet.
The bonnet?
That's the bonnet, mate.
Like a little
hat? Bonnet. Yeah,
that's
like
nice.
the car's wearing a little hat.
Okay, hat, hood. That all checks out.
Yeah. And come to think of it, they're both sort of like cloth things you wear on your head. It's just bonnet is slightly more emasculating. So Americans had to have a much more testosterone fueled.
This is a hood.
Yeah, this is my hood that I wear when I go out and assassinate people.
This is not a girl in my car. Incredibly.
Anyway, witticism $5 says, Marty, I've been playing Sunset Overdrive. Oh God, here we go. Very rocky start. You need the air dash before the movement becomes fun. Enjoying it. Cringe writing though.
Witticism. I will ask, are you playing as the guy or the girl? It's always the thing I ask.
Yeah,
literally different writing and different voice performance. That being
are you
said,
playing as the hood or the bonnet?
The hood of the bonnet. Yeah, are you playing hood mode or bonnet mode? Agree that game has a very long start, or a very kind of arduous start. Once you witticism, you are playing the. All right, then. Well, fuck my theory. I do think once you get your full movement kit in that game, it feels as good as any open game has ever felt.
Sunset Overdrive is one of the early, what I would call magenta games. Not necessarily because it's magenta, but because it sort of embodies a sort of very corporate attempt to appeal to the young'uns by creating this air of defiant, edgy, sort of non-convention.
It's
though
like
it's very clearly came out of like the conventional
punk
space.
rock through $1 billion corporation.
It's a weird plastic punk. It's like the corpos are trying to be edgy and cool and punk, and it's not really working.
I think it works for me.
Yes. However, that really hit home for me because in that game, there's a bit in that game where your character tries to introduce another character to the wonders of, quote, rock and roll. You don't know rock and roll music? All us kids love the rock and roll music.
Let's have a jive. Start skanking to some Taylor Swift.
Let's go to the school dance, Daddy-o.
Jesus.
Anyway, Geldon Yetic gives $10 and says, when I think of climbing games, I think of the role of challenge and friction in core gameplay loops. I think that's an essential part to the definition of what a game needs to do. What do you think?
Ooh, I do
Well-
like. I like when climbing is paired with tension. I think having there be a constant sense of I might fall, and if I do, I don't really care about losing health, but I do care about losing progress.
And
the
as
key
we say,
currency.
there is an inherent challenge to climbing because you're working against gravity, and gravity is perpetually trying to push you back down again, to try to keep you down like the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In contrast to walking across a room, where nothing is stopping you from walking straight back.
Sure.
I just think it's just so universally engaging because it's very easy to understand the success and failure state for climbing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get
That
to
way
the
good,
top.
that way bad.
Yeah. It's very
It's very
easy to
good.
understand.
Yeah.
Oh, I broke my legs. I think that signaled
Shit.
that I did not
Prob-
succeed in the climbing.
It's probably bad. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Star Ghost 410 gives $5 and says, "Hi everyone. Don't know if anyone told you guys this, but I think you're pretty cool." Emoji wearing sunglasses.
Let's
Thanks,
go.
Star Ghost. I think you're pretty cool.
And Saber Lily comes in with $4.99 and says, "Silly things." Oh, someone beat you to the punch there,
Ah,
Saber Lily.
whoa.
Double
Saber Lily.
thing.
Whoa.
Thanks for the money, though.
Yeah.
Waiting for Seaman 2 gives 1,000 arses. I
That was a great sentence, Yard.
I just love saying that. It just makes me think
Yeah.
of a sultan. Says, "Servants, bring my 1,000 arses." Anyway, gentlemen, I'm currently disappointed at the lacking appearance of your canine companions in this episode of the podcast. I humbly request with this big donation from a weak currency that you show your dogs on screen, except you, Marty. I understand your allergy. Woof.
Come here.
Ta-da! Here is a dog.
She was.
Here is a snoozy dog.
Oh. Here's one I prepared earlier.
Toffee? Toffee? You want to wake up and engage with your public?
Toffee, they're ready for the close-up.
Toffee? Oi! Oh, I think the podcast is wrapping up. I think I will put my keyboard down and get ready to go back up to the house where all the crumbs are.
It's on your move.
Nah, he's
He's on your
figured it
tricks.
out.
He knows it's not time yet.
Yes, he can tell the difference.
Good dogs. Very good
Fine.
dogs.
Please enjoy the back of my dog's neck.
Oh, you yawning.
Anyway,
Dog's yawning.
Booker Zero Wit gives $8 and says, "Yahtzee, pretentious. This is why we love him." Yes,
It's a defining feature. It's good.
it's why I put the accent on. And then Richard Wells gives $20 and says, "Ladders in games have always been an issue for me. Not so much going up, but trying to climb down, and your character won't grab the ladder and you just fall. Or worse, when a ladder in a game is decorative
sucks.
only. That is a very classic problem, especially with first-person shooters. Where did that start? I think Half-Life was the first game where the ladder problem emerged.
Yeah, how it not being able to sort of like click in an animation
Yeah.
to where it's clear that you're now on a ladder.
Yeah, I think in like later Half-Life games, they added you could just press the use button on the ladder and it would like sort of move you automatically to the top of the ladder.
Yeah. I
But
do
yeah.
think the doing the thing where you can just slide down a ladder, no matter how tall it is, kind of put your hands down and slide right down it. Not realistic, but cool. Cool.
Yeah,
and
but every video game character can do it, but
Yeah.
it's actually really hard to do.
yeah.
I think just more video games should put collision volumes. Like the whole problem of falling down the hole when you're trying to get on the ladder is just such a universal thing. Like if you can't survive the fall, put a collision volume there so players have to press the button so they can't just fall to their deaths. Like it's just needless.
Silly.
Mindule gives $2 and says, "Did boot for trunk come from butt? Auto derriere?" I doubt it, Mindule.
I don't think it means fill your asses.
Fill my ass up.
Yeah.
Think about them.
Oh my
Norwegian Kroner.
god. Friend of the pod?
Friend of the pod, creator of Norwegian Kroner.
I don't know why it was called the boot on British cars. Let me look that up.
It's also confusing. Well, the boot sounds like the back, like the boot of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boot.
The bottom.
Boot. Start a computer. to kick or drive-by kicking. Huh. They're not covering the British sense of boot, as in boot of a car.
You're getting that American surge.
The coachman, it originated from 18th century horse-drawn carriages. Coachmen sat on a boot locker, a box used to store their footwear and tools, which over time became a standard time for the.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I just found it. Circa 1600, fixed external step of a coach, low outside compartment used for stowing luggage. Well, there you go.
There you go.
And so it does literally derive from a place where you store your boots.
Etymology is fucking awesome.
And boot itself comes from the old French boat for circa the 12th century. Although how they hit upon it, who the fuck knows?
Don't ask us. Ask the French. Too busy drowning in all their Game of the Year.
Ha 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 ha. SP Rocks gives $5 and says full on hanging dong. Sounds like a 90s garage punk band name.
I do like full on.
It sounds like a very inadvisable thing to do to a Chinese person.
Full on.
That might have been racist. Let's move on.
Yep.
Alex Ricks gives $5 and says, just joined the stream, but was there a discussion on how the main character of Cairn, Arva, is a fucking psychopath? Not in this video, but it might come up in my review on Wednesday.
I'm going to be going in with that assumption now, so that's the lens you've painted.
I think less a psychopath and more of just a deep obsessive.
Yeah, but not in the sense you're supposed to relate to. You're supposed to think she's kind of mad.
Yeah, because anyone would just turn back at a certain point and be like, well, if 70 people have tried this and they've all died, maybe I shouldn't try this.
Yeah. You feel bad for her friends because they keep ringing her up and she never returns their voicemails and just goes, human beings, roll eyes.
God, how dare they?
And I
care about my safety.
I wasn't sure what the intention of that was early on, because a lot of media will do that to show that a character is independent and free spirited, but in this case, no. It's just this character is just obnoxious.
Yeah,
not bad.
You know, like how in the James Bond movies at the very end, when he's shagging his hottie on the escape vehicle, he'll get a call from his superiors and he'll go bugger off from shagging and just throw the phone in the sea.
Which seems insane. It seems like they'd have to have a meeting about that afterwards. Like you can't.
We need to debrief. You've just killed a military leader. What? Where's their body?
Yeah. As I say, sometimes it's used to depict a character as devil may care and charismatic. Not in this case. Not at all.
Yeah. No. I do think the only person who would go about trying to you do have to have something kind of broken in your head to be like, I'm going to free solo this mountain.
Well, why don't you go back to Edmund Hillary and Sherpa Tenzing and tell them that. Tell them that you think that.
Ed McMillan and Shirley Temple, and I'm going to tell them both that they're a little bit crazy.
Yeah, you do that. Go to Edmund McMillan and ask him what to deal with eugenics.
What's the deal with eugenics? I'm going to do it. Edmund McMillan loves my Jerry Seinfeld impression, famously. I've never met
famously.
Edmund McMillan. I assume who would like Jerry Seinfeld.
Well, I don't think there's enough anuses in Seinfeld to appeal to Edmund McMillan. Because there's one thing I know about Edmund McMillan's signature work is that he's really into anuses.
Yeah, anuses.
Respect.
Or maybe he's really terrified of anuses and he tries to channel that through his work.
Sure.
Bit of both.
Anyway, Get Ratty gives $8 and says, is Getting Over It the hardest climbing game? Well, Cairn's no slouch when it comes to high difficulty.
Yeah, I think getting over it is the difficulty in those games almost feel like they're of a different beast. Like they are built to be frustrating, whereas Cairn, I think, is built to be finished.
Well, I think there's a clear distinction between difficulty and punishing. I think that game is really punishing, not necessarily extremely difficult. But it sounds like Cairn seems to be difficult, but because I need to play it. But from what I've seen, you have lots of ways to create little mini checkpoints for yourself with pitons and stuff like that. So it's not very punishing.
but you have limited pitons. So at first you think we don't want to use those too often, but eventually you realize you kind of have to, because you never know when you're going to slip.
Yeah.
So you got to balance your limited supply of pitons against.
That's awesome. I can't wait to play it.
Security. Well, play it then. Stop fucking talking.
I want to play it tonight, mate. Gonna be great.
All right.
It's good stuff.
Okay, well, that's all the super chats. Thank you very much for listening to the Windbreakers podcast, in which we were talking about climbing in reference to Cairn, which is my review on Fully Ramblomatic this week. So tune in on Wednesday to check that out. Mm-hmm. And also remember to tune into my weekly stream, Yahtzee Tries. It's good, and people seem to like it. And on Sunday, there will be a summary of my Yahtzee Tries, my fortnightly summary of my Yahtzee Tries streams in which I review the games I played. So look forward to that as well. That's my stuff coming this week.
Jay, you got a new Designed Elf? Tell folks.
A Designed Elf came out today. Yeah, you guys can watch it. What the fuck is it on? Why Path of Exile 2's crafting system hates you. And why I think it might be one of the best ever designed. I really, really like it. And also this week there'll be a Dev Heads on Friday. So check that shit out. That's me.
Hates you and it's the best. Sometimes the best mechanics. Then normal streams the rest of the week. We got Hot Money Energy later this evening. Tune in. Jenna and Jack should be back tomorrow afternoon for their normal bi-weekly stream. We'll have, as Yahtzee mentioned, tries. Casey will be gone after tonight. Casey will be gone for the next 2 Wednesdays, so he will not be here for the streams. Nick and I might play a little bit of Neo 3, which is coming out later this week on Wednesday, though. And then we'll have the normal Firelink and Dark Souls stream on Thursday. So there you go. Easy peasy. Lemon squeeze. The lemon was squeezed.
Alrighty. Well,
I'm excited to play more Cairn. This conversation got me even more excited to play more.
Boom.
Yes, I really like the ending, so look forward to that.
Excited to get there.
That was motivation.
All right. That'll be it from us right now. See you next time, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.